good afternoon, and welcome to the Clinton Global Initiative. I have here with me Dr. Dilshad Dayani. Dr. Dilshad Dayani is the author of Confrontation 9, a book that has risen on the Amazon bestseller list. Dr. Dilshad, welcome. Our World Media magazine have the single honor of interviewing you about your book. So we say congratulations. But I'm curious, tell us, how does your book talk about a woman's place in global challenges that you address in your book?
The book talks about, first of all, thank you for having me at World Media magazine. And the question says that how women address global challenges and how I speak about that in my book. I think women go through a lot of challenges during their lifetime as a mother, as a homemaker, and as a career woman. And in that process, what happens is that they are challenged constantly by different traditions, by societal norms, and by media conditioning. In all that creates a chaos in their personal lives on how far they can stretch themselves. So the book talks about that why it is important to question traditions, norms, cultures, and come up with your own definition, your own version, your own brand of success in order to achieve a meaningful life.
Wonderful. Interesting. Your book talks about breaking the glass ceiling, and it's possible for every woman. Tell us about this breaking the glass ceiling, which we're familiar, even during the campaign, Hillary Clinton tried to do that on behalf of women. How far has this struggle for women, what is the current state? Where are women on this idea that, they have to shatter the glass ceiling,
When we talk about breaking the glass ceiling, I think there is a term that we use for the corporate world. We use it for the corporate ladder. I think we need to also see the homemaker side on this, which builds human capital. And we have always kind of given less value to it in terms of bringing it to the highlight, in terms of bringing it to the table. And that creates a lot of conflict in our approach on how women are seen and what is the role of women in development. So when we talk about breaking the glass ceiling, I have mentioned in my book that the role of women at home must be brought to the attention when we are talking about progress and development. And what is the role that plays in terms of economic value system, and how much price tag have we attached in the past? Because we do talk a lot about career development, corporate representation, political representation, but we forget that the place of women, if we design and if we see it in the home of how much work she is trying to put, and if we bring that to the attention of the men and change their mindset, then of course we may be able to create that kind of compromise, that kind of coming in between, to create, to bring that value domain to the success, to the overall success of the society.
Okay, great, wonderful. Also, I want to know what tools Confrontation 9 brings to the reader, the average woman. What is the story that you're trying to tell, or the message you want to convey to women as far as Confrontation 9 is concerned?
The message, George, I'm trying to convey to women from a very early age is that they don't have to look back when they are 40, when they are 35, and question that whether that was a script that was their own or they followed something out of conformity. after following a societal procedure, out of following a societal value system that was kind of bombarded by media conditioning, and what was more popular rather than significant in their lives. So in this book, I try to give them that what is it that they value from within? What are the codes of their value system? What is it that they are looking for in life? And if we teach our young women from a very early age to question traditions, norms, societal values, and also basically a lot of things that they are given by cultural conditioning, and when they are growing up from their parents, if they have the tools to question them, then what happens is that in this process they realize that they have defined a unique definition of their being, which is worthy, which is purposeful, and gives them the contentment tools to pass it on to their children to live a very happier and meaningful life.
Oh, excellent. By the way, the issue of domestic violence has become something that's talked about in the media in recent weeks. In your book, is there any aspect of your book that details or addresses the issue of domestic violence? Because domestic violence against women is something that society should not condone. What do you want to say about it?
I think in my book talks about a lot of proactive measures. It talks about how women need to understand their own position. And one of the things that you mentioned about domestic violence, if we see the root of domestic violence, it is grounded in cultures. Why women don't speak about it? Because their mom went through the same cycle and she was quiet. So the daughter starts keeping quiet, considering that that is the way to live her life with her husband. So when you start giving the tools to question regarding their self-esteem, self-respect, then that kind of practice stops there. And the women seeks from their spouse, their partners, that this is not the way she is going to be tolerating life or embracing life. So the book does talk about a lot that end up in societal issues. Mm-hmm. So when we question them from a very early age, and we teach our daughters and our sons to value their own beings and find their own place in this world, then a lot of societal issues are not going to emerge the way it is now.
Wow, okay, great. Also, yesterday there was a session that dealt on girls and women, and in it, some opined that men have roles to play in addressing the issue that affect women. What message do you have for men to help make this task that you are addressing, Confrontation 9, easier?
The book, the name itself suggests that if you don't confront it, then you cannot conquer it. What happens in our society is that we try to kind of shrug away from these kind of challenging aspects and arguments, and at the end we end up being part of the conformity cycle. I have always been an advocate because in my life my father and my brother played a very significant role in helping me realize where I am today. So I've always understood that how strong it is when men support women. So when you talk about how men can become part of this equation and how they can support and sustain it, I think it is very, very significant, like He for She campaign at the UN that has recently been, Emma Watson is taking very big platform on it and inviting a lot of men to be spokesperson. So basically, I have always been an advocate, and the book talks about that how important it is for all of us to change not only the perspective, the way women think, but also change the mindset of the men. So it is a parallel effort in terms of, because we cohabitate this planet, and women and men, I have never seen as a battle of genders. I've always seen it as a family empowerment, as a societal empowerment, because we are supposed to be living together here, not against each other.
Okay. Wow. Thank you, Dr. Dilshad. One more thing. If anyone wants to buy your book, where would they find it?
It is on Amazon, and if they go on confrontation9.com, they would be able to go to the site and get the book.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Dilshad. It's a pleasure.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
On behalf of our World Media Magazine, it's my pleasure to thank you viewers for watching, and then for Dr. Dilshad, the author of Confrontation 9. I'm George Honora. Thank you.